What if I told you that each choice you make can trap you into a nightmare that has been haunting people for centuries, a nightmare so dreadful, agonizing, that its mere mention still sends chills through whoever hears the story? This is no ordinary punishment. It's a death worse than anything you could ever imagine, one that drains every ounce of humanity from a person. This is Scaphism. Imagine this. There's ancient Persia, a place where one wrong turn or betrayal could leave you to face something even worse than death itself. Scaphism wasn't about killing somebody. It was about breaking him, destroying all of his humanity. They would have taken all dignity away from the condemned person, bound tightly between two wooden frames, arms and legs, and head exposed to every element. And then the real torment began. Honey, thick and viscous, was poured over his body. Not just for a moment, mind you, but hours upon hours. It attracted insects, flies, maggots, and the other creatures that feast upon exposed skin. The sun beats down on them too, joining in their misery, and they are left helpless as the world keeps going on. They can't move, they can't get away. With each passing hour, insects have swarmed, stinging, biting, burrowing. The victim is helpless to shake them off. The pain builds. The victim's body starts to rot, disintegrating right before his eyes. Time grows long. The guards check only to see if they are still breathing. They don't care about the cries. They don't care about the agony. They just want the message to be there. This is what happens when one turns against the empire's Scaphism. But the following is the kicker. It was not just the taking of a life. It was not about justice. No. Scaphism was designed to break the very soul of the condemned. It was a form of execution that didn't just kill the body, it tortured the mind, it shattered the spirit. This punishment wasn't meant to restore order. It wasn't meant to ensure justice. It was meant to strike terror into the hearts of anyone who dared defy the empire. The worst wasn't the bugs, it wasn't the sun, it was the powerlessness. A victim was enclosed in a frame, completely at the mercy of the torture, unable to fight, unable to flee. Nothing could stop it. The agony wasn't just physical, it was mental, it was emotional, and the horror wasn't in the torture itself. It was in what Scaphism did to them that looked upon it. The people in the empire who heard of it whispered of it, aghast at the thought of crossing their rulers. Scaphism wasn't a punishment, but a lesson. A grim warning that any person who dared to cross the empire would face this fate. Scaphism is ancient, yet its presence is still haunting us till date. Not for the fact that it was an execution method running with blood, but for the fact that it signals unchained power man's humanity, taken away by him, and his living controlled by fear. But what is to be learned from this? The legacy of Scaphism is not solely ancient Persia. Rather, it's a warning against what can occur if one is living under the control of fear, where systems of power are allowed to rule without compassion. How much of this still happens today? How many times do we witness people or groups being subjected to horrors, not just physical, but psychological tortures meant to break their spirit? Scaphism does teach us that the worst atrocities are not necessarily the bloodiest, but those that steal from us our will to fight, those that make us forget who we are, that make us feel powerless. But let's not forget, we can break free from the shackles of fear. We can rise up against cruelty and demand dignity for all human life. If we learn from these stories, if we learn from history, then we can make sure that this never happens again. Because true strength doesn't come from fear. True strength comes from compassion, from justice, and from protecting human dignity. If you've been moved by this story, take a minute to reflect on your life. What are the fears that control you, and how will you overcome them? In a world where fear is still strong, remember this: you have the power to break away. You can choose to make a difference. Comment below and share your thoughts. How do you face your fears in life? How can we all help each other rise above the shadows? Let the conversation begin. Together, we can face the darkness and bring light to what's been hidden. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest and most fascinating corners of history.